My family disowned me for marrying my high school sweetheart at 18, calling him a loser who'll never amount to anything. 5 years later they called, not to congratulate us on our success, but to demand I co-sign a $50,000 loan because Dad's business was failing. Mom screamed, "We raised you, you owe us this." I said, "You raised me to know better than this." That weekend, I made the call that changed everything. Now they're sobbing, "We are losing the house." But it's too late. I never thought I'd be writing this, but after everything that's happened, I need to get this off my chest. My therapist says writing helps process trauma, and honestly, there's something cathartic about finally telling the whole truth. 5 years ago, at 18, I made what my family called the biggest mistake of my life. I married my high school sweetheart right after graduation. We'd been together since sophomore year, and despite everyone telling us we were too young, we knew we were meant to be together. He wasn't wealthy, his family owned a small auto repair shop, and he worked there after school and weekends. But he was kind, hardworking, and treated me like I was the most precious thing in the world. My family, however, saw things differently. My father owned a moderately successful consulting firm, and my mother worked as a bank manager. They considered themselves upper middle class and had very specific expectations for my future. When I announced our engagement during my senior year, the reaction was explosive. "Are you completely out of your mind?" My mother shrieked, her face turning an alarming shade of red. "He's a mechanic. His hands will always be dirty. You're throwing your life away for some grease monkey who'll never amount to anything." My father was somehow even worse. "I didn't pay for private school and college prep courses, so you could waste your life on trailer trash. That boy has no ambition, no prospects, and no future. You'll be barefoot and pregnant within a year, living in some rundown apartment while he drinks beer and watches sports." My younger brother, always eager to pile on, chimed in with, "My friends are going to think our family is pathetic. How am I supposed to explain that my sister married beneath us?" The arguments went on for months. They threatened to cut off my college fund if I went through with the wedding. They refused to meet his parents or attend any of our pre-wedding events. When I wouldn't budge, they escalated to emotional warfare. "We raised you better than this," my mother would sob dramatically. "After everything we've given you, this is how you repay us? By embarrassing us in front of our friends and ruining your future? You're being selfish and stupid," my father would add coldly. "When this fails, and it will fail, don't come crying to us. We won't be here to pick up the pieces of your mistakes." The final straw came 2 weeks before the wedding. I came home to find my belongings in garbage bags on the front porch. My key no longer worked. When I called, my mother answered and said simply, "You made your choice. You're no longer our daughter. Don't contact us again." I was devastated. Despite their awful behavior, they were still my family. I'd hoped they'd come around, that they'd see how happy he made me and give him a chance. Instead, they cut me off completely. They didn't attend our small wedding ceremony, didn't acknowledge our announcements, and blocked me on all social media. But you know what? It turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Without their negative influence and constant criticism, my husband and I thrived. He wasn't just a mechanic, he was brilliant with his hands and had an incredible head for business. Within 2 years of our marriage, he bought out his boss and expanded the auto shop. He specialized in restoring classic cars, and word spread quickly about his exceptional work. Meanwhile, I threw myself into my studies. Without the pressure of their expectations and disappointment, I discovered I had a real talent for marketing and business development. I graduated summa cum laude with a double major in business and communications, then immediately started working for my husband's growing business. Together, we were unstoppable. I handled all the marketing, customer relations, and business expansion while he focused on the technical work and training new mechanics. Within 3 years, we'd opened 2 additional locations. By year 4, we had a dozen employees and were making more money than I'd ever dreamed of. We bought a beautiful house in the nicest part of town, ironically, just 2 neighborhoods over from where my parents lived. We traveled, we invested wisely, and we built something amazing together. Most importantly, we were happy. Blissfully, completely happy. The silence from my family was deafening. Through mutual acquaintances, I knew they were aware of our success. My father's business had been struggling for years, apparently. His consulting firm was hemorrhaging clients to younger, more innovative competitors. My mother had been laid off from the bank due to budget cuts. My brother had dropped out of college twice and was living at home, bouncing between retail jobs. But did they reach out to congratulate us? To apologize? To admit they'd been wrong? Of course not. Then, last month, everything changed. I was in the middle of reviewing contracts for our fourth location when my phone rang. The caller ID made my blood run cold. Mom. For a moment, I considered not answering. 5 years of silence, and now she was calling? But curiosity got the better of me. Hello? I answered cautiously. Sweetie. Her voice was sickeningly sweet, completely different from the cold tone she'd used when disowning me. How are you? I've missed you so much. I was stunned. Mom? After 5 years, you're calling to ask how I am? I know, and I'm so sorry about that. We were hurt and confused. But we've realized our mistakes, and we want to make things right. Can we meet for coffee? I'd love to catch up and hear about everything. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Maybe they really had changed. Maybe they wanted to apologize and rebuild our relationship. I chose a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown, and prepared myself for what I hoped would be a reconciliation. I should have known better. My mother arrived looking haggard and stressed, a far cry from her usually polished appearance. She spent the first 10 minutes gushing about how proud she was of my success, how she'd always known I was special, and how sorry she was about the misunderstanding from our past. Then she got to the real reason for her call. Your father's business is going through a rough patch, she said, her voice taking on that familiar manipulative tone. The economy has been hard on everyone, you know. We need to consolidate some debt, and the bank is being unreasonable about extending our line of credit. My stomach dropped. What are you asking me, Mom? We need someone to co-sign a loan for $50,000. It's just temporary, until Dad can turn things around. We wouldn't ask if we weren't desperate. I stared at her in disbelief. You cut me out of your life for 5 years because you disapproved of my choices, and now you want me to co-sign a $50,000 loan? You're being dramatic, she said dismissively. We were disappointed, yes, but we never stopped loving you. And now that you're doing well, it's only right that you help family. We raised you, fed you, clothed you, paid for your education. You owe us this. I owe you? I couldn't keep the incredulity out of my voice. You literally told me I was no longer your daughter. You wouldn't even acknowledge my wedding. That's in the past, she waved her hand impatiently. What matters now is family helping family. Your father's pride will never let him ask directly, but I'm swallowing mine to come to you. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I took a deep breath. I need to think about this. What's to think about? Her voice was getting sharper now, the fake sweetness fading. We're family. Family helps each other. Your husband's little garage business is doing well enough that $50,000 shouldn't be a problem for you. The dismissive way she referred to our successful company as a little garage business told me everything I needed to know. They hadn't changed at all. They still looked down on us, still thought we were beneath them. They were just desperate enough now to come begging. I said I need time to think, I repeated firmly. This is a big decision. Her mask slipped completely then. What is wrong with you? We raised you better than this. After everything we gave you, this is how you treat us? You're being selfish and ungrateful. You raised me to know better than to make impulsive financial decisions, I said calmly. I'll call you in a few days with my answer. I left the coffee shop feeling sick to my stomach. The whole ride home, I kept thinking about their audacity. 5 years of no contact, and they thought they could just waltz back into my life asking for money? When I told my husband about the meeting, his reaction was immediate and furious. Are you seriously considering this? He asked. They disowned you. They called me trailer trash and said you were ruining your life. I know, I said quietly. But they're still my family. No, he said firmly. Family doesn't treat family the way they treated you. Family doesn't abandon you for making your own choices. Family doesn't show up after 5 years of silence with their hand out. He was right, of course. But it still hurt. Some part of me had always hoped they'd come around, that they'd admit they were wrong and want a real relationship. Instead, they just wanted to use me. 3 days later, I called my mother back. I've made my decision, I said without preamble. The answer is no. The explosion was immediate and predictable. How dare you? She screamed into the phone. We raised you. We sacrificed for you. You wouldn't have anything without us. Actually, I interrupted. I have everything I have to spite you, not because of you. You told me I was dead to you. You said not to come crying to you when my marriage failed. Well, my marriage didn't fail, it flourished. And now you're the ones crying to me. You're being vindictive and petty. No, I'm being smart. You taught me that actions have consequences. You taught me that when someone shows you who they really are, you should believe them. You showed me that your love was conditional on me living the life you wanted me to live. When I chose differently, you cut me out.
Distance?
Now you want back in because you need something from me. That's not love, that's convenience.
Yeah, true.
We'll lose everything, she
You think it's
sobbed.
in Savannah to the left
We
or to
might
the
lose
right?
the house. That's unfortunate, I said, and meant it. Despite everything,
Bro,
I didn't
the
want them
dark,
to suffer.
Or like the snow
But it's not my
villages?
responsibility.
There's two
You
snow
made it clear
villages. The
5
one
years
with-
ago that I wasn't
It's the one
family.
with igloos.
You
they
can't
have
have
so
it
many
both ways.
chests.
Wait.
Please,
It's
she
like actually
whispered.
insane.
I'm begging you. For a moment, I wavered.
Yeah, we need food.
This woman had raised me, despite all her flaws.
Sure,
But then
that
I
is
remembered
true.
the garbage bags on the porch. I remembered the cold rejection
how are
and the
people
cruel
ass at
words.
Minecraft, really?
I remembered how
That's
they'd made me
something
feel
else.
worthless
Ooh,
and
look at
stupid
this
for
game.
following my heart. I'm
We could
sorry,
get,
I said
we could get
quietly.
shields right away,
But my
and then
answer
go
is
take
still
on that
no.
villager thing.
I hung up the
Fucking
phone
hell,
and
we're gonna
immediately called my man. I need
We're
you to
gonna
do something
die.
for me, I told him. I need you to look
Bro,
into purchasing a
there's
debt.
so many that spawn now.
Someone is
I
about to
took one the
lose
other
their
day,
house, and I want to
and
make sure
I'm
I'm the
not
one
even
who
joking,
ends
like,
up holding their
probably 30 of
mortgage.
them.
It took
Look at
some
this
research
place.
and several phone calls, but my
We're going down
lawyer
there.
worked his
Let's
magic.
do it.
Within a week, we
Right,
tracked down
let me
exactly who
craft
held my
again.
parents' mortgage debt. It had been sold to a collection agency 6 months ago when they'd fallen behind on payments.
Need more food.
The collection agency was
Go
more
back
than
up.
happy to sell the debt to us at a significant discount. They were just trying to
I'm gonna get
recoup
some
whatever they
first.
could.
Go back up and look
2
for
weeks
more.
after my mother's phone call, they received an official notice that their mortgage had been purchased by LMJ Holdings, LLC, a company I created using mine and my husband's
Dude, do you know
initials.
how long
The
Devin's
notice
been
informed them
following
that they had 30 days to bring their
Oh.
payments current or face foreclosure proceedings.
/
3 days after that
follow-
notice was
3 years,
delivered,
more than
my
that.
phone rang again.
Follow age.
What did you do? My father's voice was shaking with rage. What did you do?
3 years.
I
4
bought your
months,
debt,
22 days.
I said simply.
That's
It's
crazy.
just business. This is
Remember
blackmail.
when sheep didn't give
No,
mine?
it's not.
Just gave wool.
Blackmail involves threats and coercion. I
Back
simply
when you, like,
purchased a
used to
debt
dig in
that
your
was
butt.
already in default.
I
You owe
still
money,
do.
and now you
Yeah.
owe it to me instead of a
like the
faceless
first day.
corporation. We're your
Oh, yeah,
parents.
no, the first
My
day.
mother was screaming in the background. You can't do this to
6,
us.
7.
You keep saying you're my parents when you need something,
Yo,
I observed.
I think
But
we gotta
5
go
years
to-
ago, you made it very clear that relationship was
Fuck,
over.
no, there's so many.
You told me I was no longer your daughter. You can't pick and choose when you want to be family
cue to
based on
come
what's
back.
convenient
Come
for
over here,
you.
look at this mountain.
We'll fight
Hey,
this.
Mila.
Oh my,
My father sputtered.
yo.
We'll sue you. On what grounds? I haven't done anything illegal. I purchased a legitimate debt through proper channels. You have the same options you had before. Pay what you owe, negotiate a payment
Daily,
plan,
you should
or
join
face
up on the
foreclosure.
Minecraft world.
The only difference is now you're dealing with me instead of strangers. What do you want?
I have a lot of
My mother asked quietly. Please, just tell us what you want. I thought about that for a long moment. What did I
Why are
want?
you laughing?
For
Is it- are the
years,
pillagers
I'd wanted
funny?
their approval,
She make
their
you
love,
laugh?
their acceptance. I'd wanted them to admit they were wrong about my husband, to apologize for their cruelty, to be proud of what I'd accomplished.
They
But I
dumb,
realize
how are
now
you?
that none of
You
that
two
mattered
versus me
anymore.
too.
I
Okay.
built a beautiful
I
life
put it in the
without them.
fucking- Where are you?
I had a husband who loved and supported me,
I
have a
a
lot
successful
of food.
business,
Like, I have a
financial
lot.
security, and
How
genuine
much is a
happiness.
lot?
Their approval was
Like,
worthless to me now because I no longer valued their
20
opinion.
pieces of food.
I want you to understand something, I said finally.
I know,
You taught
but
me
that's
that
enough
love
for
should
right
be
now.
unconditional, but you
Devin,
made
what
yours
you gotta do
conditional on me
So
living the
good,
life you
so
wanted.
bad.
You taught me that families should support each other, but you withdrew your support the moment I made a choice you disagreed with. You taught me that actions have
Why are you laughing?
consequences, but you never thought those consequences would apply to you.
Huh?
We were wrong, my mother whispered. We know we were wrong. We're sorry. Are you sorry because you hurt me, or are you sorry because you need something from me now? I asked. Because 5 years ago, when I needed you to just accept my choice and be happy for me, you couldn't do it. You chose your
As
pride
bad as
and your
that?
prejudices
How about
over
that?
your daughter. Now you
You
want me to
sound like
choose you over my self-respect and financial
Fucking
security.
stone and fucking coal comes out here,
Please,
fool.
my father said, his voice
It's
breaking. We'll do
Cold right
anything.
here. I'm already
We'll
getting cold
apologize
before you.
publicly.
I have roll.
We'll welcome your husband into the family.
Don't have any.
We'll make
I
it
have
right.
4.
It's too late for that, I said
5.
sadly. You had 5 years to make it right.
6.
Instead,
7.
you stayed silent and let your pride keep you from your daughter. The only reason
Whatever.
you're reaching out now is because you need
I'm
money.
already out of.
That tells me everything I need to know about your
What level
priorities.
are you? So I know you're
So
not
what
lying.
happens now?
2.
My mother asked.
Bro, you have no coal.
Now you
I
have
got
the same
15.
choice I had 5
Come
years
over
ago,
here.
I
You're
said.
not level 2 then.
You can swallow
I'm
your
I
level
pride
am.
and
Look at
ask
my
for help
fucking
from the
tree.
people who
Oh,
actually care
I've
about
killed
you, your friends, your community, maybe even my brother if he's in a position to help. Or you can face the consequences
Let
of your
Rihanna know
choices
that I'm
alone,
army.
just like you made me do. We raised you better than this. My
Rick's
mother
rabbit.
screamed, falling back on her old manipulation tactics. Yes, I agreed. You did raise me better than
Face
this.
down the shit.
You raised me to work
already
hard, to
down,
be
bro.
independent,
Just go
to
look
stand
for it.
up for myself, and to not let people treat me poorly. You raised me to know that actions have consequences and that you can't treat people terribly and then expect them to help you when you're in trouble.
Roger,
Thank you for those lessons. I'm living them every day. I paused, then continued. You have 30 days to bring your payments current. After that, I'll be forced to proceed with foreclosure. I'm not doing this to be cruel. I'm doing this because you taught me that family isn't just about blood.
Yeah.
It's about loyalty, support, and unconditional love. You showed me that I wasn't your family when you needed me to be different. Now I'm showing you the same courtesy. I hung up the phone and turned to my husband, who had been listening to the entire conversation. Do you think I'm being too harsh? I asked. He pulled me into his arms and held me tight. I think you're being exactly as harsh as they taught you to be, he said. They made their choice 5 years ago. Now they have to live with it. The next few weeks were brutal. My parents called constantly, alternating between rage,
We both
manipulation,
are. Hello?
and desperate pleading. My brother called to yell at me,
Why are you still
calling me
fucking in
vindictive
that
and
shit?
cruel. Extended family members
still
I
in
hadn't
Discord.
heard from in years
Yeah.
suddenly reached out, trying to guilt me
Wait,
into doing the
what?
right thing. But I
Am
held
I talking
firm.
in there too?
Every time someone told me I should help because they're
There you go,
family,
you
I
left.
reminded them that family
There's
works
zombies
both
somewhere.
ways.
I love
Every
it.
time someone said I was being heartless, I asked them where their concern was 5 years ago when my parents disowned me. The truth was, I could have easily paid off their debt. $50,000 wouldn't have put a dent in our savings. But this wasn't about the money, it was about the principle. They needed to understand that their actions had consequences, and that they couldn't treat people horribly and then expect kindness in return. On day 28, my father called one last
Why are you
time.
giving it to me?
I know you hate us, he said quietly. And I understand why. We were wrong about your husband. We were wrong about your choices. We were wrong to cut you out of our lives. But please, don't make our mistakes worse by making the same ones we did.
We go to
I'm
the
not
prom.
making your mistakes, I said. You cut me off because I wouldn't live the life you wanted me to live. I'm holding you accountable for the choices you made. There's a difference.
Right
Is there no
door.
way to fix this? He asked. I thought about it for a long moment. There was, I said finally. 5 years ago, you could have
Roger,
apologized
you need
and
this.
asked to be part of my life again.
I'm
3
rationing
years
you.
ago, when you
Rubber
heard we
round
were
check?
successful, you could have reached out to congratulate us and repair our
These are
relationship.
cool.
1 year ago, you could have called just to say you missed me. But you didn't do any of those things. You only called when you needed money.
Just
That tells
stab
me
in the
everything I
fucking
need to know
anus.
about what I mean to you. We were proud, he admitted. Too proud to admit we were wrong. And now you're paying the price for that pride, I said. Just like I paid the price for mine when I chose love over your
Yeah,
approval. On day 30, when no payment had been made, I instructed my lawyer to begin foreclosure proceedings. My parents lost their house 6 weeks later. I heard through the grapevine that they moved into a small apartment
cool?
across town.
Wait.
My father's business finally closed,
that what
and
it
he
is?
took a job working for one of his former competitors. My mother found part-time work at a grocery store. My brother moved out and got his own place, apparently embarrassed by the family drama.
Bro, don't,
Do I
don't
feel
fucking
bad
scare
about
me,
it?
bro. I'm ready. Go.
Sometimes.
Say goodbye.
They're still my parents, and I never wanted them to suffer. But I also know that they made their choices with full knowledge of the potential consequences. They chose their pride over their daughter, and when their pride couldn't pay their bills, they expected their daughter to bail them out. My husband and I are doing better than ever. We opened our 5th location last month, and we're looking into franchising
Oh,
opportunities.
yes. That's good.
We're
That's
finally
really
ready to
good.
start trying for kids, and we're excited about
Bro,
building a
I'm
family
fucking,
based
like,
on
2
love,
hearts, bro.
acceptance, and support, everything my parents failed to give me.
I'm 4.
Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if they just accepted
I'm
my
like
marriage
67.
from the beginning. Would we all be
Spider
one
jockey?
big happy
Where
family now? Would their business have
Chicken
failed if they had my
jockey!
support and
But that's not what
expertise?
it is.
Would things have been different? But then I remember the
literally
garbage
spider
bags on the
jockey right
porch,
here.
and I
Look at
know
that.
that some bridges burn for a reason.
It's literally a
They
fucking
taught me
thing.
that love should be unconditional, but they made theirs conditional. They taught me that family should stick
shit's
together,
that much.
but they kicked me out when
I
I didn't
need that
conform to
shit.
their expectations. Now they know how it feels to be
Ahoy.
on the receiving
Ahoy.
end of conditional love.
Did you get that too?
They know how it feels to be rejected when you need
Why are you
support the
building in
most.
cobblestone, you
They
fucking...
know how it feels to face consequences for their
Lisa Rid?
choices. And maybe, just maybe, they'll think twice before treating the next person in their lives the way they treated me. As for me,
Joking.
I'm finally free. Free from their
Yo.
expectations, their conditional love, and their toxic dynamic. I built something beautiful with the man they called a loser, and I did it without their help or approval.
What?
They were right about one
get
thing:
diamonds.
actions do have consequences. They just never thought those consequences would come back to them.
No.
But as they always
right time.
told me growing up, you reap what you sow. Update, it's been 6 months since the foreclosure, and I wanted to add an epilogue of sorts. Last week, I found out I'm pregnant with our first child. When I shared the news with my husband, the first thing he said was, "Our kid is going to know they're loved unconditionally, no matter what choices they make." And that's when I knew, with absolute certainty, that everything I went through was worth it. Because this child will grow up in a home where love isn't conditional on meeting impossible standards or living someone else's dreams. They'll know that family means support, acceptance, and unconditional love, not because someone shares your DNA, but because they choose to show up for you consistently.
You wanna go boating?
I haven't heard from my parents since the foreclosure was finalized. Part of me wonders if they'll try to reach out when they find out about the baby, their first grandchild.
Fuck Jayla.
But honestly,
Sorry, Jayla.
it doesn't matter
Fuck
anymore.
you.
They had their chance to be family, and they chose their pride instead. Now I'm building my own family, with a man they said would never amount to anything, in the life they said I was throwing
Thought I
away.
was just gonna read you.
And it's more beautiful than they ever could have imagined. Sometimes the best revenge isn't hurting the people who hurt you, it's building something so amazing without them that their absence becomes irrelevant.
That's my fucking
I think I've finally learned that lesson.